Good morning, everyone, especially to our prospective bidder. May we request identification, ma'am, sir, for records purposes? Please type in your name and the company you represent. Thank you. So while the prospective bidder is providing the information, I'll start off the presentation, Mrs. Chair. Thank you, sir. Once again, welcome to the pre-bid conference on the preventive maintenance services for air conditioning system at Philippine ATMC for 3 years under bid number 24-056-08 Bravo. The project is entitled Preventive Maintenance Services for Air Conditioning System at Philippine ATM Center for 3 years. And the approved budget for the contract is in the amount of 7,500,000 pesos from the CAAP corporate operating budget for the fiscal year 2024. Bidders must have completed a similar contract within the last 5 years. And additionally, only Filipino citizens, sole proprietorships, partnerships, or organizations with at least 60% Filipino ownership can participate in the bidding. Foreign entities are allowed if their country's laws grant similar rights to Filipinos as per RA number 5183. The bidding will be an open competitive bidding with the pass-fail criterion as per RA 9184. And the bid document fee is in the amount of 11,200 pesos, which is already 12% VAT inclusive. Upon payment of the bid documents, bidders must provide their email addresses to the BAC Secretariat. All communications, including notices, resolutions, and replies, will be sent to these email addresses. The date an email is sent will be considered the date of receipt. For the project delivery, it will be 30 calendar days for the initial delivery of the service. And for the bidder's information, it will be for 3 calendar years. The submission and deadline of submission of bid will be on September 2, 2024. I'll now continue on the instruction to bidders and their corresponding BDS. I will not be going through each provision of the ITB individually. Instead, I will present the additional project requirement as outlined in the bid data sheet. Starting off on the eligibility of the bidders for the purpose, contracts similar to the project shall be supply of labor and expertise for the repair and maintenance of air conditioning units, then the supply, delivery, and installation of spare parts for air conditioning units. For the documents comprising the bid eligibility and technical components, in addition to the technical documents specified in Section 8, the contractor or the bidder shall submit the following: the certificate of site inspection signed by the ANS facility in charge of the Philippine ATMC or his duly authorized representative, the certificate of satisfactory completion from at least 2 completed contracts, relevant certifications or accreditations of its personnel who will be involved in the project. Sub-requirements under this requirement are the NC2 in refrigeration and air conditioning servicing certification for at least 4 technicians, the certificate of training related to York chillers and its subsystems for at least 2 technicians, mechanical engineer's license possessed by at least 1 regular employee of the company who will approve the recommendation for corrective actions, if any, and the certificate of training for a safety officer issued by the Department of Labor and Employment accredited training institution. And additionally, under the documents comprising the bid eligibility, a continuing requirement, the maintenance plan outlining the procedures, schedules, and tools to be used, and the resume or the CV depicting at least 1 year working experience in the maintenance of air conditioning for at least 4 technicians. For the bid prices, the price of the goods shall be quoted DDP, CAAP Road Pasay City, or the applicable input terms for this project. For the bid security, it shall be in the form of bid security declaration or any of the following acceptable forms and amounts. The amount of not less than 2% of the ABC if the bid security is in cash, cashier's, or manager's check, bank draft, guarantee, or irrevocable letter of credit, or the amount of not less than 5% of the ABC if bid security is in surety bond. Under the detailed evaluation and comparison of bids, the project shall be awarded as one lot consisting of 21 items. For the requirements under post-qualification, these are additional requirements for the post-qualification. The bidder must submit legal clearance issued by the CAAP ELS and the certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government. Now, in the same way, I presented the ITB corresponding to the BDS. I'll be doing the same presentation for the GCC and the corresponding SCC. Under Clause 1, for the scope of the contract, for the delivery and documents, for the purpose of this clause, the procuring entity's representative at the site is Engineer Julius Ruel Risquier, ANS Field Office Chief, Area NCR. Under incidental services, the supplier is required to provide all of the following services, including additional services, if any. First is the performance or supervision of on-site delivery. Second is the furnishing of tools required for assembly and or maintenance of the supplied goods, and the performance of or supervision or maintenance and or repair of the supplied goods for a period of time agreed by the parties, provided that this service shall not relieve the supplier or of any warranty obligations under the contract. Still, under the scope of the contract, the supplier is required to provide spare parts as selected by the procuring entity, ensuring that this selection does not affect any warranty obligations under the contract. So in the event that the production of these spare parts is terminated, the supplier must give advance notice to the procuring entity, allowing sufficient time for the procuring entity to procure the necessary requirements. And additionally, following the termination of production, the supplier must furnish blueprints, drawings, and specifications of the spare parts at no cost to the procuring entity if requested. Spare parts and components are listed in Section 6 and included in the contract price. The suppliers must maintain sufficient inventory for a 12-month stock supply of the consumable parts. Spare parts or components must be delivered within 2 months of ordering. The contract for regular and recurring services can be renewed based on the service provider's performance evaluation, which will be conducted according to Section 7's technical specifications. As for the packaging, transportation, intellectual property rights remains the same general requirement for the project based on the 6th edition of the Philippine bidding documents. Under the advance payment and terms of payment, so in brief, I'll not be talking or presenting all the text as found in the bidding documents. So the procuring entity will pay the service provider quarterly upon completion of services and submission of required documents. So payments are structured as follows. So 40% of the annual contract price in the first quarter and 20% in each of the subsequent quarters of each of the preventive maintenance year. So annual consumables for chiller maintenance must be delivered during the first quarterly maintenance each year. The first preventive maintenance year starts upon the receipt of the notice to proceed from the CAAP Procurement Division. Under inspection and tests, the inspections and tests that will be conducted is physical inspection of the delivered items, parts, materials that will be used. For the warranty for all delivered items under 19.A to F shall be 6 months from the date of the acceptance. Service warranty shall be 3 months from the completion of each quarterly preventive maintenance. For the schedule of requirements as shown, listing of the different items under the ATMC building with the required deliverables for the preventive maintenance and the quantity under each sub-items. For the security reception area, canteen building, chillers, ventilation, air conditioning, and smoke extraction ductings, and the chilled water and condensate drain pipelines. For the schedule of delivery of consumable items, as shown on the table, and then for the technical specifications, so the statement of compliance is required for the items listed in the schedule of requirements. This includes the scope of work for the chilled water and condensate drain pipelines, the responsibilities of the contractor, personal requirements, and the submission of documents listed under the submittals. We'd like to emphasize to our prospective bidders that a statement that is not supported by evidence or is subsequently found to be contradicted by the evidence presented will render the bid under evaluation liable for rejection. I'll now move on to the checklist of the technical and financial documents. For the technical component, under the legal documents, valid PhilJIPS registration certificate, platinum membership, all pages. And for the technical documents, the statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. And the statement of the bidder's SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided for in the sections or in the relevant sections of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. And the original copy of bid security in the form, if in the form of surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. Continuing on to the technical documents, the conformity with the technical specifications, which may include production, delivery, scheduled manpower requirements, and or after-sales parts if applicable. The original of duly signed omnibus sworn statement and the applicable notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original SPA of all members of the joint venture giving full authority and power to its officer to sign the OSS and do acts to represent the bidder. Under the financial documents, the prospective bidder's computation of NFCC or a committed line of credit from a universal commercial bank in lieu of its NFCC computation. And if applicable, a duly signed joint venture agreement in case the joint venture is already in existence, or duly notarized statements from all the potential joint venture partners stating that they will enter into and abide by the provisions of the JVA in the instance that the bid is successful. For the financial component submission, the original of duly signed accomplished financial bid form and the original of duly signed and accomplished price schedules. Other documentary requirements under RA 9184 as applicable for foreign bidders, a certification from the relevant government office for their country stating that Filipinos are allowed to participate in government procurement activities for the same item or product, or and a certification from the DTI if the bidder claims preference as domestic bidder or domestic entity. And that concludes my presentation, Mr. Chair, for the pre-bid conference. We'll now open the floor for any questions or clarifications our prospective bidder might have.
Any queries from the prospective bidders? If you have clarifications, now is the time to raise them. Inputs, feedbacks from the presentation. Okay, we see no questions that are forthcoming. If we're going to close the pre-bid conference, but be assured that if you have further questions, you have 10 days from the opening of bid schedule, you can write to the BAC Secretariat, and then we will accordingly reply. Thank you. If no more, we're closing the pre-bid conference for the project Preventive Maintenance Services for Air Conditioning System at Philippine ATM Center. Oh, there's one. May schedule po ba ng site visit? So it's Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. You just need to coordinate with ANS. John David Pruelda. That's the answer. Thank you. Anything else? You're welcome, Mr. Pruelda. Okay. All right. No more questions. Officially closing the pre-bid conference for the said project. Let's proceed with item 2.2. Those who will no longer participate for this item are hereby excused. You may exit the online. Ms. Kat, Secretariat, please accept those who will be joining Property Appraisal Service. End user for this would be, I suppose, admin. Your
Yes po, admin po ang end
Okay,
user, but
good.
AMD po will be presenting.
Where is Captain Fortune? Okay. So I guess we can make an exception because I understand the Vice Chair wanted the service chief to be present if this is their project or the head. So he's on official business, I think, for the Bagong Pilipinas event. Okay. Proceed.
Good morning po everyone, and welcome po sa prospective bidders natin for the Property Appraisal Service for the 2024 valuation of CAAP properties and assets nationwide. Bid number 24-057-08 Bravo. Our budget po for this project will be 16,128,266.70 pesos. Our calendar for delivery of goods po will be 240 calendar days, and there will be and the schedule po will be subject to 20 days po na 20 days na evaluation of appraisal report from the IPAs. This will be the scope of work po. Lahat po ng property, land, building, and improvements na kailangan pong i-appraise. I will scroll through lang po sa properties that we have, and maybe it can be checked na lang po ng ating bidders.
Is this an exhaustive list? Exhaustive list? Okay.
And for clarification na po, BAA Airports, although the property itself, land itself, is no longer with CAAP, our legal office po opines na isama pa rin po yung airside operation facility for insurable purposes po ng buildings na meron. And yung kung ano po yung airside operation facilities are listed here naman po. And our evaluation approach po to get our value would be cost comparative approach. And we will now be discussing po the deliverables from the appraisal companies. Assume lang po, general requirements will be all IPAs shall be registered with PhilGEPS, Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System, shall be on the list of accredited appraiser companies by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, shall also be licensed by the Professional Regularization Commission as an appraiser, or shall have an license equivalent for it. They might, and dapat po yung ating IPAs shall have conducted a nationwide appraisal from other government agencies as well, or at least simultaneous na 5 different regions. And then our deliverables po from the appraisers, market value appraisal is the estimated amount for which a property should be engaged on date of valuation, and between a willing buyer and a willing seller when the properties had each acted acknowledgeably, prudently, and without compulsion. Ito po yung market value or sale price ng kabuuan ng ating property, including the buildings, improvements, and considering din po yung other defects. And we shall also have the market rental value. This is when we're going to appraise naman po yung how much should the property rented or leased. We're talking about po sa contract of lease po ng use ng property natin. The IPAA shall also be delivering land data and title verification by locating, inspecting, and plotting the subject property. Yung basically yung land covered po ng ating airports mainly and facilities po ang hanapin. Property location and identification, landmarks and distance from main thoroughfares, and other defects po. These defects po would be sa per lot basis po siya. So legal issues or pending claims with each lot, or kung meron po siyang occupants, informal, unauthorized occupants or informal settlers. Conduct of property title inventory and by verifying the lots of occupied by subject property or or basically ano po yung titles or yung lots na kino-cover ng ating airport. As of now, we don't have that record po. And it shall be included with the property appraisal report. The appraisal report shall also be accompanied by certified true copies of TCT or OCT from the Register of Deeds per lot, pictures of property with date stamp, compound layouts, plans, vicinity maps, and location maps showing the location of the building and other improvements, name of occupants, if any, for the informal sectors, latest real estate tax assessment or declaration of real estate tax, and other documents that may be required by CAAP. And the documents that can be provided by CAAP are as follows: parcellary plans, survey plans, cadastral maps, development plans, copies of available TCT, OCT deed of sale, or other property-related documents within CAAP custody. Here's our timeline of submission po. The timeline po is divided per region. So we have submission of the draft appraisal report for CAAP NCR properties, 30 days. And once that is submitted, CAAP will be conducting review of the appraisal report for 20 days or earlier. And we have, again, submission for CAAP Area Center 1 or Region 1, 2, 3, and 4 properties for 60 days, and submission for appraisal report for Region 5, 6, 7, and 8 properties for 60 days, and submission for Region 9, 10, 11, and 12 properties for 60 days. And submission of final appraisal report of all properties for 30 days. And again po, CAAP will be given maximum 20 calendar days to review po each submitted report. Our terms of payment for the total contract price is as well divided per region per submission. For once the submission of appraisal report for CAAP NCR property has been completed, that 10% of the total contract price shall be given to the appraisal. And that should also apply to Region 1, 2, 3, and 4 properties for 20%. And Region 5, 6, 7, and 8 properties, again 20%. And Region 9, 10, 11, and 12 properties, 20%. And the final appraisal report, once submitted, the remaining 30% shall be given. Now the checklist of technical and financial documents. The technical component envelope, Class A documents for legal documents and technical documents as shown. The financial component envelope as shown. That concludes po our presentation for the Property Appraisal 2024 Service for CAAP Properties and Assets Nationwide. And I would like po to also open the floor for questions or clarification for from our prospective bidders.
To our prospective bidders, may questions po ba tayo? Clarifications?
Okay, we hear no comments, inputs, questions, or queries on the presentation. With that, if really no questions, Secretariat, can you confirm if there are no questions on the chat box?
And no clarification from that chat box as well, sir.
Very well. So we will be closing the pre-bid conference for item 2.2, property appraisal service for the 2024 valuation of CAAP properties and assets. Nevertheless, for the prospective bidders, if there are any present, you still have 10 days prior to the opening to submit questions, queries, feedbacks, if any. Otherwise, we will proceed with the opening. Thank you, admin. You're excused. Thank you to those who participated, if there are any online.